These teams is going to be dropped out of the Summit qualifier, and one of them will keep their hopes alive. We're going to see a repeat draft here with the Shattered Demon first pick, Keeper of the Light, and an Omni Knight is the response from Friends. Blaze, you okay with this? You okay with Friends picking up the Omni Knight again into a Shattered Demon? Or are you okay with Virtus Pro leaving Omni Knight out in the pool, knowing that Friends love to pick it up? Okay.
Relatively inflexible. He's not going to surprise you too much. Makes it all work out that you can leave it in the pool because you know what you're up against. Now they have the Shadow Demon. They have at least one answer to a repelled target. They may even still leave Storm Spirit in the pool as a result of this. But in general, like I just feel like they didn't prepare themselves for what the Omni was capable of in Game 2, the same way that they did in Game 1. They were still good in terms of proactivity, but I feel like they needed just mechanical answers. They just needed more defusals. They needed more ways to deal with it because otherwise the storm was just unassailable.
This time around, they're going to get themselves a Slardar to couple with the Shadow Demon opening, and we'll see Friends' third pick. Virtus Pro, though, take away a lot of the big-time initiators, the Centaur as well as the Sand King in particular, while the Luna and Alchemist are going to be banned away by Friends. Some of the better, I guess, snowballing carries. I'm not sure what to make of that too much, but I guess we'll see a little bit more development into what exactly Friends is planning with their lineup. They're once again to be running some sort of snowball-centered strategy. I mean, it's interesting they themselves banned away the Luna. I guess maybe they feel like you can't, beat Virtus Pro with the same strat twice, but it does leave into question, right? What are they going to run with this Omni? How are they actually going to keep a five-man lineup without those pushing cores of Luna or, say, Draw Ranger?
Yeah, I think they were just really worried about the illusion spam from Alchemist or from Luna, just ways to push down the towers as we saw, or of course just spread the map and get a lot of gold out of things like Radiance. So in general, they just didn't want to have to deal with that. They don't have a lot of single target damage yet, but I think they will look to draft some up. I mean, even going with something like a Juggernaut that doesn't have to worry about spinning in tough situations. If he can just go in and with the repel on himself and go a bit YOLO, that can work out pretty well. Beyond that, I mean, obviously we saw the Phantom Assassin earlier, and that has some really good potential too. Beyond that, I mean, you don't want to be too dependent on the repel because again, you already have the counter and the Shadow Demon. But some way of doing good single target DPS is going to be pretty key to Friends' victory.
Well, Friends themselves seem a bit stumped. One of the things I like to be able to flag is the fact that Friends, because of their choices in bans, did not ban away the Juggernaut, which we've seen has been kind of repeatedly one of the heroes that's picked up. Maybe in anticipation of a hero like that being picked up, they're going to grab the Axe. So again, we know for sure Omni Knight is going to be a support, and Axe will be our offlaner. He's a hero that could actually make use of a aggro tri-lane by being able to get a 1v1 matchup against the Slardar. I'm just not sure how Friends would do that with a Coddle, Omni Knight, and no Luna to go with it. So seems a bit unlikely. Maybe the Axe is more likely to be full-time jungle to start with.
Definitely possible here, but I do feel like this makes Dazzle pick a little bit weaker. Dazzle, Slardar, Shadow Demon. I mean, you've got negative armor, you've got the illusion synergy with Shadow Wave early on. There's a lot of early games that can be won by those two heroes alone. But picking up the axe, obviously the Shallow Grave is a little bit weaker. You still like your ability to heal bomb the axe if he gets too greedy, but for the most part, you're going to see much more value in the axe over the Dazzle in terms of culling blading that Shallow Grave. So not going to be seeing like a really high tempo opener here in terms of that kind of support, but you could still see a lot of good options that'll fight in the mid game, which is pretty much where these teams thrive. Like obviously we've seen Ramses play a lot of mid game type cores, and we've seen Friends pick up this Omni Knight as well as heroes that are able to kind of bounce off of it. So we'll see here. For now, I guess they can go for their 4 position support and just make sure that their Lille is able to be greedy and be active.
Man, both these teams taking a long time with those third picks, but finally there is the Chen for VP. Gonna try and take advantage of that jungle. We'll see whether or not he's needed to pressure the Axe. That is one thing, right? Chen becomes a rather easy Axe target once you have, later on to the game, when you have the Vanguard and Blink Dagger and such. Those are just extra units on the field to proc those spins.
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely going to be kind of double-edged sword here. But the Chen, we definitely know that he has a lot of potential here. They're going to look to build up HP pools. If you can get the Ancient Granite Golem, I think they're going to be in a pretty good spot. You've got Hand of God, potentially a Mechanism, along with the Ag's Ancient Granite Golem, and Axe just won't find that Culling Blade threshold so easily. Like as long as you can, not get hit by a fully charged Illuminate, there's not going to be a lot of damage coming out from friends. And I feel like Chen is going to allow them to build up their HP pool quite nicely. So again, they needed some really good single target physical damage that can rely on the Omni Knight, and here it is, the PA. This is just so critical that they are able to get some good damage out early in the fights, because otherwise I think Virtus Pro are just going to build themselves up to be way too tanky.
Yeah, this feels good, right? PA with an Omni Knight backing him up. You've got the Axe to be able to get some initiation and find openings for your PA. VP pretty quickly respond with the Ursa, though. They've got Slardar, Ursa on the same team. An intense amount of physical damage that you can output. Am I right in saying that Overpower still ignores evasion? As in that
Well,
the
to an extent.
yeah, the Overpower, like, you just keep swinging, right? You don't lose those charges if you miss.
Exactly. And
Okay.
there that was a point of confusion for some people for a while, but it is still in the case where you only lose your overpower stack if you hit. So if you're blinding lighted up against a blur PA, you're still just going to be wailing away. Might not be hitting anything, but you'll be attacking very fast the
Yeah.
entire while. So yeah, he's only like soft countered by evasion until later stages, and yeah, I think that's going to allow him to still stay very active, very involved, and of course his main kill target is not the PA. It's actually going to be the Omni Knight. You take out the
Hmm.
Omni Knight as the Ursa, and then there's nothing else you have to fear across the board. Your teammates can even deal with the PA with the amount of control they're going to have from Chen's neutrals, from Slardar, and the fact that just the PA won't have any buffs or support.
Yeah, and he's still potential diffusal blade pickup as well. VP still need their mid. Friends leaving their mid open to see if they can get the 1v1 advantage. Invoker and Storm Spirit both banned away in the last go.
Hmm. I wonder how fast of a Roche could happen in this game here for Virtus Pro. Like if they want to just sneak it, as soon as the Slaughter hits level 6, just suddenly Chen, Ursa, and Slaughter disappear, and you just try to do something with the other two heroes in the meantime. I feel like that Roche could go down very quickly and very early this game, despite being Radiant side.
Yeah, even just the Ursa and a Chen creep, right? They could easily
Yeah.
just leave safe lane for a minute and smoke up. They do have the, I mean, it's like a bit. It's mostly a disadvantage, right? The fact that your Radiant side facing up against Dire, they have better control the Roshan pit. But in this one specific instance, right, where you're safe laning your Ursa, and then you're just going to rotate straight into the pit. This is actually a better position for him to be in, as opposed to the Dire side safe lane or so, where you have to rotate all the way across the map. You could very quickly sneak in there with the Chen creep to tank up the first few swings of the Roche, and that's something Friends will have to be sort of on high alert for. And they may not be able to even contest that depending on what kind of mid they have, because right now their heroes are, again, a little bit slow. Omni Knight, Keeper of the Light. PA is a little bit faster for cores. Dusa is not very quick, but she is great versus this lineup, I think. Sort of lineup that looks to be able to jump a hero and very quickly burst that down. Dusa slows all that down.
All right, this is gonna be a pretty interesting game. We'll see if the kind of the Knight strat of Dragon Knight plus the Holy Knight of Chen can push down towers. This is something that is really capable of taking the game in the first 25, but after that gets a lot more dicey. Mana burn still an option for like the Ursa if it goes for that diffusal blade. Is it also is really good against the Omni Knight? But in the end, you've got a lot of different things to deal with, and I feel like the best solution that VP have is just raw tempo, just being able to get early kills, early
Mm-hmm.
tower pressure, and try to knock this one out of the park very quickly. And Friends, in turn, will just look to delay that, look for some illuminate counter push as well as maybe some axe calls in between, and see what they can do to drag this one out.
What do you think about the Dragonite? Because that is probably the most interesting pickup. And I would say when Deuce has been picked, it's been very specific and it's been rather successful. I don't feel I've seen a whole lot of Dragon Knights, and when I have seen them, they've been pretty unsuccessful. What are your thoughts?
I feel like it works well with the idea that they have in terms of their objective focus. He's able to fight around the pit really well. He's able to push towers in, and this is going to allow them to secure their objectives pretty well. I feel like there are only so many mids that are really emphasizing push right now. There are so many mids that emphasize kills, mobility, ganks. I think like Mirana's out there, but I think tower pressure is still a rare trait in terms of mid laners, and I think that DK is one of the few that will bring that to the table in full. I mean, obviously we used to see like Wind Ranger and DK and Death Prophet be the three big pushers, and haven't seen a lot of any of them. So just bringing one in shows their true intentions for this draft.
Yeah, you definitely need someone to be able to weather the PA's physical damage. It does means they had to pick up the Dragonite first before they knew what mid he was up against, and he will be unfortunately facing up against a Medusa. Will take full advantage of facing a melee hero with the Mystic Snake constantly bouncing around, but that's not really his Dragonite's job, right? He's not supposed to win his mid lane matchup. He's just supposed to do kind of okay for himself, get enough farm, and then be able to apply pressure later on.
It actually might be a rune snipe here. Yeah, it's going to be 2
Ooh.
runes for the Radiant side. So already up on the ticket here, we've got no one as well as Ipashi going to be able to succeed in their laning configuration. But down bottom is where I really want to talk about the lane matchup here. We've got Phantom Assassin couple up with Omni Knight, the OTP, here down bottom, up against the Shadow Demon along with the Ursa. This is going to be just a slugfest, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The idea of being able to run this PA Omni, and it looks like Coddle's going to be joining them as well, to be able to give Axe the 1v1 matchup. I didn't fully anticipate this, because trying to line up against an Ursa early on feels dangerous, but I guess until the Chen rotates in, they should be okay. In fact, they're actually going to full-on rotate out. They want to try and keep the pressure on the Axe. I think that's actually probably more important, right, is that Ursa is matched up against the Axe. So they don't let the Axe get that fast Vanguard blink.
Yeah, so at this point in time, I do feel like we're going to be seeing 2 out of 3 lanes working out really well for VP. Actually, no one. He's kind of going for this damage advantage build where he's already got the Quelling Blade out. He's been using his Breathe Fire on Undershot, keeping his damage low, and he's always able to CS against his opponent. So Dusa is only 2-1 right now. Obviously, no one's now out of mana. It's going to be dependent on the bottle to keep this up. But if he's able to just keep that Breathe Fire debuff on her and continue to just barrage and force her back, then I feel like VP are in a good position in the mid lane. And then, of course, you mentioned that matchup here. Ramsey's going to toe-to-toe with Afterlife. And with these Urshocks, he probably just gets a kill. Urshock is such an amazing spell, even level 1. And even with his Omni coming in, he could have gone for it. Could have gone for the Urshock again and kept those Fierce Swipes up. I mean, he's got 5, that's 100 bonus damage per hit coming out from Ramses. And I think that he was a little bit too afraid of that Omni rotation when, in fact, he probably had another kill.
He backs away. He may need some extra help from a support now that he's facing a 1v2. We'll have to see how it goes for him. Mid lane, as you said, CS, not great for the Dusa, but once you start getting those higher levels of Mystic Snake, it should get a bit easier. Bottom lane, Pasha's getting some CS, but PA is controlling the lane for the most part. Pasha does have to be a bit careful, but should be able to survive constantly against the PA. Anytime he's Phantom Struck, he just goes ahead and throws down that stun solo. We'll just try and keep the lane in control with these pulls, which the Keeper of the Light is supposed to be able to contest. All around, this looks to be still the top lane that's probably going to be the most interesting. I'm not sure how active they're going to be at bottom lane, because I don't think PA can really go on the Slardar and Shadow Demon, but similarly, I don't think necessarily that Shadow Demon and Slardar are going to be able to look for kills either.
Yep, so we'll kind of just see things chill out for a little bit. No first blood for the moment, but it's going to be probably the first smoke rotation that really generates that traction. Like, we got the ability for the Chen to rotate pretty hard, and obviously the DK is a hero that really sets up those ganks nicely if he has the mana for it with the Dragon Tail. But for now, this 2-0-2 build is all about trading, and even like the Chen, Lil is just doing his thing. He loves to play greedy on his forward position heroes. That's why you see him on all the unorthodox ones that require much more farm than normal. And he goes ahead and just Wild Wing Rippers down a stack.
Pushing back, friends. Keeping that stack all to Lil. And so he's going to continue to try and abuse these neutral camps and give friends no quarter in order to get the extra farm needed. No one, level 5 now against Undershock. Level 4 Dusa, still suffering in CS quite heavily. 7
Really bad.
and 1.
It's like CSing against a Tiny. It's like you go a Quelling Blade and a Tiny or a Treant Protector, and suddenly there's like literally no way that you can stop him from denying your creeps. He can nearly kill it from 50%. So in this position, just the damage deficit is way too high. And if you're not CSing with like your Mystic Snake, you're probably not CSing at all.
Afterlife will be spotted here in the side at half HP. Pasha Not trying to have a go, though. Shadow Demon not really there to back him up just yet, which means our PA is matched up against the Ursa once again. Level 3 with an Omni Knight backing up, but Ursa's just gonna follow Afterlife wherever he goes, apparently. He'll TP down to bottom lane and match the Axe once again.
Yeah, once he gets his phase boots, I think they really have some great kill potential here. I mean, yeah, you have the Battle Hunger, which will give movement speed to the Axe, get some distance from the Ursa, but still that Earthshock. If you have all the mana you need, you can just keep spamming and keep that target slowed. So it's really good for keeping pace. Mid lane, we're gonna have the Mystics or the Wild Wing Ripper bringing out the Tornado and just making things really difficult for Undershock. This Undershock is their insurance policy. He's late game, and he's going to get there eventually, but for now they're really just stifling how quickly he can build himself up, and he's kind of just going to be a walking stone gaze for a very large portion of this game.
No one. He's going to be able to get the initiation here. Omni Knight is going to come in with the heal. Undershock may still be pursued out, though. He's completely out of mana. Centaur stun will go down.
What?
Actually, no.
Really?
What? Okay, Undershock still goes down, though, but First Blood is picked up by the Ursa. Instead, the call goes down. Afterlife looking to be able to pursue out Lil. No fear, stunned up underneath the tower. Will get the Mango heal off. And Afterlife actually trying to come back in, make sure No Fear's okay. Looks like everyone's good. But our Ursa actually picking up the kill at bottom lane. First, up against the Keeper of the Light.
Yep, nice little disruption. I mean, any time you don't have vision on the western side over the tree line, this allows Solo to always flank from those trees and make it so that if you step into the lane just an inch too far, you're going to be punished for it. And they get a nice little easy kill. But on top of that, they get the secondary kill in the mid lane. And I'm really surprised that the hitbox is there, that the Centaur stun didn't connect. But either way, they're able to run him down. It's just Omni Knight's not able to do enough in those situations to really turn it around, especially on such a low mana pool.
All right, Pasha, see how he responds to this one. Nope, this is a stun, which means he's done for. I think even if he does hit the stun on Afterlife, I'm pretty sure he still dies there, but it was...
Maybe needs to spin under tower. It definitely can... There's a world where he lives, but it's not this one. He ends up just going down, buying up his Tranquils, and probably heading right back out to the lane. Ursa's going to be doing really well, though. Fused raindrops early, so we're not going to be seeing any mana issues for him anymore, and those charges should stick for a while, since your only magical damage is coming out from like Keeper of the Light's Illuminate or the Mystic Snake from the Medusa. So he gets to run around, he gets to do his thing, and he should be able to move towards Roche when he gets the Morbid Mask.
Solo trying to get a nice mid ward up next to the tower. Will be able to do so, but is spotted in the process by this ward, so that kind of ward should come in pretty swift from Always Wanna Fly when he has the time. Other than that, this is about the time where you expect Roshan is a possibility for VP. It's just a question of whether or not they're able to find the right kind of opening for it. Sometimes that means just trying to sneak it in with a smoke. Sometimes that means forcing a team fight and seeing if you can win that and then turn it into enough space for you to openly do Roshan, knowing the enemy team can't contest you anymore. And we'll see what VP's exact plans are.
But for now, just going to be kind of waiting for Afterlife's Blink, I think, is the big thing for Friends. They obviously need to get levels on the Omni Knight, and that's going to help out with the Tome coming up in a couple minutes here. But in general, it's just pretty much playing the lanes as you'd expect them to. And we're going to look for Virtus Pro to go for the first group up play. So they're going to be smoking up. They've got pretty much everything they need as long as they can get the first hit, and that should be the disruption here in mid.
Disruption leading into Dragon. Okay, all the stuns. I thought, Centaur stun into Golem, then into Dragon Knight. Now they're just like, throw all the stuns at once. It's all good. Anything to stop the Dusa, essentially, from being able to get off Stone Gaze, that's the most important thing. Meanwhile, inside the river, the call goes down. No Fear still in trouble, though, because I'm pretty sure Ramses didn't catch up if he wants to. He actually chooses to go on Afterlife instead and will swiftly be kited around by Yoku with that dagger. Mid lane, no one wrapping around, doesn't have the Dragon Tail just yet, but can still pursue out deep into the tier 2 and maybe just nuke down Always Wanna Fly, amplify damage, and a Golem Rock. That'll ensure the kill back over the mid tier 1, where 5 members of Virtus Pro will push that down.
Yeah, so just, I mean, a small kill advantage numerically, but we're going to see that snowball further and further ahead as VP just have full control of the game at this stage. And we're going to see the Axe timing that I was talking about, where you're going to be seeing a ancient Black Dragon or Golem or whatever that will be almost unassailable. The Medusa certainly is not going to be able to bring it down. The Phantom Assassin can with a couple of crits, but you're not really wanting to spend time DPSing on a golem. You're really better plans in general. So I do think that this Chen Aghanim's is going to be quite effective, and it might just be what they need to break the base.
4-1, an early start here for VP mid lane, going damn well for no one as he continues to hold a bit of a CS lead over this Medusa, despite her now being level 7. The Ursa has the lifesteal available to do Roshan at any point in time. Friends, they've already lost one of their big Roshan controlling towers in middle, and they still have that offlane tower up, but we'll see for how long. Currently, Solo's occupying that bottom lane, the safe lane. For fear of intrusion, they're just going to leave a support here and let him get all the experience he needs, and Ramses will take the much safer and much more assured farm in the jungle.
No one going to be going for the armlet build here, so we're going to be relying mostly on the bad dash to initiate, because they don't have any blink daggers anytime soon. DK, Slardar, Ursa, all common blink carriers, none of them going to have it for the first stage of this game. On the other hand, Axe gets to pick us up very quickly. So there's one disparity in this game. It's how much farm this Axe has as compared to the Slardar. Like, he's actually almost doubling his Nemesis offlaner's net worth.
Well, speaking of that, that Roshan controlling tower, VP already grouping up with the Chen. As soon as the Dragonite ultimate was up, they'll push down that tower, and Friends are left forced to contest, but they have the tools to do so. They've got that Blink Dagger ready to go with the initiation onto the Chen. They might just be able to burst him real quickly to get the repel out, stopping the Dragon Tail, and now no one's up next on dinner, but Ramses is here, and he's able to scare away some of Friends. Same goes with the Centaur. Zoning stomps going down. Shatter Demon going to run into Undershock here. That's awkward. Solo completely out of mana, and left to the right clicks of Undershock should have enough too to be able to claim the kill. Nice response there from Friends due to the well-timed Blink Dagger on Afterlife.
Yeah, that's the key there. If you don't have the Blink Dagger, that fight's very different. I actually got to see the Shadow Demon essentially solo the Coddle in the back line with just the help of the Mud Golem, splitting again at the perfect time for 3 rocks with the Soul Catcher, and yeah, good damage. It kills off Coddle, but in the turn they lose both their supports. They put down an Observer Ward behind the tower, which only gets sentryed, and as a whole, Friends really just bite back. That really good rotation, very critical Blink Dagger, and that's really the kind of fight they need to stop bleeding.
They still hold the top 2 net worth thanks to their cores not dying in that fight. Both the Ursa and Dragonite looking good, but obviously the cores of Friends, a big surge for them as they're able to catch back up a little bit. Medusa still has a long way to go, but that's okay. Friends are able to fight without the Dusa for quite a long time with this kind of lineup. The Axe, PA, and the Omni Knight all hitting a pretty big power peak at this point in time. Solo running into Afterlife there. A swift blink away will get him out of danger, and they'll get a nice aggressive mid ward for now, while the Ursa Solo challenges that bottom tier 1 tower. We'll be able to get it too, taking away more control of Friends away from the Roshan pit. Again, any opening, that's the value of an Ursa strat, right? He's such a powerful carry right now, but he's not the same old carry that used to be so reliant on snowballing through Roshans. Like, now he's a carry that's just like the cherry on top, you know, the potential Roshan. But you don't have to do it within the first 15 minutes.
Yep. And, I mean, just a lot of aggressive potential now. They pick up the Mask of Madness. They've got, obviously, the Armlet on DK. Like, all they need is a Blink on Ipasha. And once they have that, along with about Lil's Aghanim's, going to be very similar times, they should just be able to batter down every tier 2. But at the same time, we saw what No Fear's Omni-Knight could do last game. And while it's not as great of a setting for it, it still has a similar potential value with the PAs in the right place at the right time. Also, look at this PA's item build. It looks like she's actually going Battle Fury when she already has Medusa on her team. Is it possibly Linkets?
Maybe. I don't know. That feels a little awkward. No one is going to make his initiation wrap around on the tower. Keeper of the Light will be purged up and saved down from the Omni Knight with the heals, repel, and now the ultimate going down. Pasha still managed to get the 2-man stun, though, slowing down Afterlife, and maybe Solo will be able to make the escape with the help of the Chen. Afterlife gets bursted. No Culling Blade today. Always want to fly, also to fall. Friends left with 3 behind the tier 2, while it's VP who will push forward into the tier 1 tower, winning a fight. 4 versus 5, leaving Ramses that opening finally there for him to do Roshan.
Yep, so he's going to go ahead, do his thing, no problem at all. Free Aegis, free tier 1 top. Usually it's like you're trading a tier 1 top for a Roshan. This is the other way around. You're getting both, and you're able to keep the push alive, as I think they're just going to keep the mana flowing as best they can. The only thing they're lacking is the Dragonite, though. He's kind of low on mana, HP, and about to run out of Elder Dragon form. So he'll heal back up, TV back up top. But I do think they want to keep the pressure alive.
Watching Ursa go on a PA is like the funniest thing. He just keeps swiping, you know? He misses, doesn't matter. Just keep on swiping.
Little Dora the Explorer here is just crying out, please, no. Swiper, no swiping. But it's happening. This bear is alive and well, and he is a Blink Dagger now, so he's going to be just full on aggro. I actually do think, looking back at the item decision, that it's probably Lincoln's. They're going to go back to essentially what they were looking for from the Storm Spirit, which is Lincoln's plus Repel equals a hero that can't be purged conveniently. So Demonic Purge otherwise would just immediately take it off. So getting the Lincoln Sphere guarantees that you essentially have that magic immunity guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that
you can be amp
sense.
damaged, purged, and that kind of sucks. You can be troll trapped, you can be Satyr Trickstered, but for the most part, this is going to be a reliable way to keep PA in the fight.
Sad part is, despite the lineup meant to be able to fight, you know, with 4 heroes while the Dusa farms, that's really just not the case. We're going to see the initiation come out. They will catch Solo here, trying to burst him real quickly. Gets the disruption to buy some time, but does not delay the inevitable. He still goes down, and now Ancients may be taken. An Ancient stack prepared for the Dusa is spotted out by VP. They don't really have the lineup to clear through Ancient stacks very quickly, so they'll leave it there for now, but they know about, and they'll probably just try and control this lane as best as possible.
Yeah, but they're probably the Red Dragon form and going for the Shadow Blade. It might have been Envision of the Creep Wave. It's very close with that nighttime, but they're playing it back either way.
Oh, it's what a fly. Okay, still gonna be caught.
In
Very,
the end,
very dead.
Yep. So tough spot to be in, but we'll see. Yeah, can the Red Dragon form do enough is the question. Like, this Red Dragon form has Cleave. It can technically go for the Ancient stack, but it looks like they don't feel like it has enough time. They don't feel that they have the wherewithal to go and approach that objective. So they're just going to change their focus here. Axe in the mid lane is actually looking to cut the wave. Might just find the Chen instead. Will he be able to do enough damage, though? This guy's got Ags. He's too tanky.
No, and now we have Solo on the other side of things. Afterlife cutting the creep wave. He thought it was going to be a simple, easy process to slow down that mid push. Not the case. He gets caught, and he may have just opened up VP an opportunity for them to go high ground.
Yeah, and just really, friends are lacking in options right now. Even Medusa was kind of scouted out by the Observer Ward action, and it's just very limiting. Now they stacked up all these Ancients. They're like, oh, well, I'll take one. Thank you very much. And we're going to be seeing that big Ancient Black Dragon with the new Mile moving out onto the battlefield.
And Aegis still yet to be used for Ramses. He's got 2 minutes to do it. And he, with that Blink Dagger and Mask of Madness, he's all about the 15 to 20 minute marker. That is his time to put a stamp on this game. They're going to keep on going for this tier 2 at bottom lane up next. I don't think Friends can actually fight it out, as not only is their lineup just not meant to be able to beat VP at this point, but it's also the fact that it's just one of the tougher towers to deal with. Blinding Light goes down. Ramses keeps on trucking forward, though, and raging off the miss percentage and turns towards the tier 2.
Yeah, I mean, with Mask of Madness and a Rage on, you're not actually mitigating that much damage because the additive effect, but you still get to put out so many quick attacks and build up that Furious Wise quickly, so a lot of kill potential there. Very effective dive, and yeah, PA does go for the Battle Fury. We'll see what it's really worth. I mean, if you crit a creep wave with a dagger, you'll cleave it too, so that can be a form of wave clear, but otherwise it's just lacking combat value.
Yeah, I mean, I was down with the Lincolns, honestly. I think the more traditional builds, that's got to be better, right? Like, this PA Battle Fury is, like, so slow. They already have a Dusa on their lineup.
Yeah.
How is this possibly meant to work? Aren't they just going to get run over? Especially with the next Roshan.
Yeah, it really comes down to just her hoping that she has enough wave clear and that she'll be able to build up her next item quickly enough. But it's not even like a traditional build. It's like an old school build. This is so past meta that I'm not even sure. But we're going to be seeing the nice little play here with the Axe and the Medusa working together to clear this out quickly. And it looks like that is going to be the amount of farm that Undershock needs to build up quicker towards the next item. That was a critical Ancient stack that, like that I said, the Red Dragon form can do something about, but they just didn't find the time for it. And in the end, it's going to be Friends to pick up that bounty.
Well, now we have a Silver Edge on the Dragonite, so beware Phantom Assassin.
Mm-hmm.
That blur effect may not be there for long. No one is going to first make a jump into the jungle here, not actually looking or scouting for a kill. He might have stumbled into Undershock if he did. Instead, he is just going for the very open push at the top lane. Wants to be able to take down this tier 2. Friends, I think they know they can't contest right now. It's got to be one really big fight around the Roshan pit. That's their only way back into this game, so they're just going to try and trade towers as best as possible, even if it's not a very efficient trade, tier 1 for tier 2. They got to get any gold they can out of this one. Solo, runs into Afterlife. Afterlife runs into him at a blink dagger away. Hit into the trees. Will not be able to make the escape. They scouted him out, and now he's done for. And the
again,
tier 2
just
still
getting
falls.
multiple things at the same time. Tier 2 up top, as well as the kill for the Ursa, setting up the Diffusal Blade. So now they do have a means to purge, no matter who he's within range, the Shadow Demon or the Ursa. And it just puts Friends back further back into a corner. Like, they only have a minute amount of space to farm with. They're getting pressure from multiple sides. Didn't see Chen pick up an Ancient Creep most recently, but when he gets his next... Oh, the Black Dragon's up top, doing the Fireball split push that pretty much nobody can deal with. Like, the PA can spend a lot of time wailing on this creep, but end of the day, it's not even worth their time. Yoku's not even bothering.
Yeah. At the end, he just flies it away. Ramses has his Diffusal Blade, then left a double damage at bottom for no one to pick up in his bottle, so they can have it over the next 2 minutes available to them. That'll be nice, especially if it's an early Roshan. We'll see when the timer pops up, if it's going to be an early or late. Late, probably preferable for Friends. They want to be able to draw this game out as much as possible, but no matter what, even if it's an early or late Roshan, they have to contest. They have to be able to stop that, because I don't think they will be able to deal with a 5-man push uphill with Aegis. I think they just guaranteed lose a lane of Rax.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing no one try to break through. There's a Sentry Ward just barely alive here. 12 seconds left on that thing. It should save Always on a Fly, but maybe not. They're already in range with a stun, and they just let loose.
Poor Coddleman goes down, and VP controlling the map, finding pickoffs. And
that just might be Rax, just by that little pickoff. They're going to have to buy back on the Coddle just to illuminate the waves.
Well, just means that that one fight that's coming up may be able to lose so much more. Yoku's actually going to go down in mid. No one finds him with a Silver Edge. Oh, dear.
Yeah, that fight's coming sooner and sooner, man. This is really looking bad for Friends. They need everybody available for this engagement. They can absolutely win it with like an Illuminate call and the Medusa just dealing damage behind it. But the problem is that they need everyone, and they're losing people left and right. It's just dropping too quickly. Now, we do see that Ursa's kind of lacking mana now. They don't have Arcane Boots on anybody that I recall, so it is going to be maybe a stop back to the well for him pretty soon. But in general, we're seeing some really good pressure from BP, and Friends are wondering if each death might be their last.
Do they have any smokes left on... Alright, they've got one smoke in shop. Do they have the smokes on them? Alright, so they've got 2 smokes to work with. One on the Coddle, one in inventory. That's not bad. I think they absolutely need to use these 2 smokes somewhere in this Roshan, because the potential time is up. Roshan could be up any time now. And they've got to find a pickoff. Something to be able to allow them to just take Roshan for themselves, or force VP in a 4 versus 5, or even just forcing them a buyback. Even a VP buyback in order to make sure they keep control of the Roshan pit. It's still something. Some small advantage they get themselves.
So we were kind of asking about the potential value of this Dragon Knight, trying to think of like what he actually brings to the table in this mid roll. Well, we saw him put out the push. We see him getting some good initiations off. He's tanky, so he's not an easy target for like the PA crit and axe jump. And now he's a great Silver Edge carrier. So all around, it seems like they had this game plan for no one to be about at this farm level at this point in time. And the question is if that strategy is sufficient enough to just end it right here. Roche number 2 is when Chet and Ursa spike their heaviest, and probably when most games for them end one way or another. So I'm looking forward to see what they can do with it as the Roshan has respawned and map control. Look at all these Radiant wards. Like they've seen a lot of good wards coming out from Solo. They saw him put out a ward bottom. They saw him put out one by the Secret Shop, and yet they've still got 3 incredible observers inside and outside of Friends base.
Yeah, meanwhile, Friends pretty much completely blind. They have 1 observer right in front of their tier 3 tower just to be able to get a little bit of that vision into the push at bottom, but still doesn't alert them to the Roshan. And apparently, friends, I mean, they haven't smoked out at all. They didn't even try and contest Roshan in any way. They very clearly think that it's a better option to defend a high ground rather than contesting Roche. Do you agree with that?
I mean, they definitely are out of options. I mean,
Yeah.
like, we're just going to be seeing a big push coming in from VP. I don't see any reason to hesitate other than maybe the mana pool of the Ursa offset by the point booster. So, yeah, I feel like VP are just about to march in. Friends, they pretty much have to just execute perfectly in the next fight. They don't really have any decisions to make. The decisions are going to be made for them momentarily.
VP making sure to get control of all the lanes first before they actually go high ground, pushing in top, cutting the wave even with the Slardar, keeping mid and bottom under control. Friends, meanwhile, will do anything they can to be able to buy themselves a little bit of time. You could see that quite clearly with Afterlife cutting a creep wave and quick to TP out as soon as he feels there's danger afoot. BKB, that's what they need. Yoku, he's trying to finish it up. That's what the time is currently being bought for. Time enough for the PA to get a big team fight item where they can pose a high ground defense against this Aegis. Dusa holding on to buyback right now, but has enough to be able to buy Manta if she wants to. Probably looking for the straight up Scotty though, if possible.
Yeah, they've got the 2 big ancient creeps in the base. It's so difficult from this position. The only thing they're going for them is Ursa has no mana, but he might just go YOLO with his first life so he has mana for his second.
Push back there with the blinding light, slowing down these pushes, but it's still a frosty blue dragon from no one, pushing high ground with a Shadow Demon Disruption behind it. So they will be able to chip away. It looks like they're actually going to back out with Ramses fresh out of mana. They feel this is not the time to fight just yet anyway. They do have an Aghanim Scepter coming in eventually, but...
Nah, they're not waiting for that, though. They got the Vlads up on the Chen. They're going to reset for the next Elder Dragon form, and then they're going to go in again. And they've already gotten some good chip damage on the Tier 3 tower, but that BKB you mentioned might be online in time. Of course, we talked about the idea of him just having a BKB through Repel, but seems to have shrugged off that notion and seems to be focusing more on what he can do with a legitimate form of magic immunity.
Yeah, no diffusal blade counter there, at least. They're probably going to have to wait another 60 seconds, or 60 seconds pretty much for the Dragonite and his ultimate. Looks like they caught themselves a pick. They got the Ancient Black Dragon. It's down. So Chen will just have to get another one.
Dragon Soul collected, gets a new shout, but not going to be enough. I think right now VP are like in 80-20 position in this game. Friends have to, I mean, obviously the next fight is the most critical one. If the next fight happens and it shifts like almost 50-50, but this one fight is just so hard for them to win. Aegis has still got 2 minutes. VP kind of not making moves towards the base. I'm almost worried that they're going to get in that mindset of, oh, I can just get one more item. Oh, this fight will be really good if I can just get another item. But Friends are farming at the same time. They're not shutting them down. They're not controlling the space that well. So unless they're about to make a smoke play, I feel like they might be too conservative.
Surely they're going to push right here, right? They've got the heart on the Dragonite. The ult is up.
Ramses, he's like, oh, I need one more item, and it snowballs against you really quickly. Oh, here we go.
Under shock, yeah, they're making the jump. They managed to get the stun. No Fear is ready to go with the repel. It doesn't stop the amplify damage. That gets out. Diffusal Blade goes down. Manta will manage to get rid of that slow.
Ramses, they can just get the Stone Gaze. That would be so good.
Yeah. Not going to be able to do anything there. Ramses unable to catch up to that Dusa. Always want to fly. Playing a dangerous game right now. They will manage to TP back, though. VP, again, corralling the creeps in, pushing both mid and bottom, getting the vision under control as well. Everything being set up for this 60-second period of time where the Aegis is still up for them.
Yeah, so they're going to be able to go with this, and this is going to be one creep wave illuminated. Battle Fury will finish off with just one dagger, but no one's going to be on the high ground with backdoor protection down, which is the important thing.
All right, the first bit of initiation to slow things down comes from Afterlife as he calls up the Dragonite, but that'll just be a disruption. Now the jump in. Ramses, takes so much damage there as the Enrage is down. Of course, he's got the Aegis. And Undershock left at half mana pool now, but VP are going to be backing up just a little bit, waiting for that next creep wave. They need to keep going, though. They need to make use of this Aegis, and friends are just, they're not even going to try and kill anybody. They're just trying to buy time for the Aegis to go down. It's down now. The initiation starts, though. Pasha already under shock. No one is disrupted up. Focuses down the melee racks. The Blinding Light will buy a little bit of time. He may actually have to turn around with his hero to finish this off, as the Blinding Light is enough, but he finally does claim the melee racks. Now VP slowly backing away. Friends not going to reinitiate, nor should they. They already lost the melee racks. There's no sense in forcing the fight now, as they managed to make that where they lost the tier 3, they lost the melee racks, but the Aegis is gone, and they have a much better chance of being able to defend the next high ground push that comes in.
All right, so Aghanim Scepter is up for the Ursa. We might see one for the Shadow Demon pretty soon. That's usually my go-to pickup against Phantom Assassin, but in this case, they already have the Silver Edge, and you don't really want to wait another 1,500 gold. You even without Aegis, I think they continue to do what they've been doing. They continue to siege, they continue to break the base and put pressure out, because the only way this game goes from here is downhill. It just gives more potential for Friend to build up their momentum for Axe to find a good pick and kind of build up something from there. Right now, Friends have almost nothing going for them. VP need to keep it that way, and I expect them to be just focusing. Yeah, it looks like they're picking up the side lanes here. It's a lot easier to push top when bottom's already going in.
There was an item choice I wanted to talk to you about, but I can't remember what it was. Jump in. Oh, Afterlife pulling back Ramses. They actually managed to get a quick crit on him, but he pops the enrage now. Yoku is going to be the target of all this fury from the Ursa, but can't quite lay his claws onto him until no one comes in. Will manage to get the right clicks to finish him off. Now the Stone Gaze goes out, but it's pretty too late. 2 heroes already down, and Afterlife well out of position. Cannot be saved by that one. Undershock slowed down by the Diffusal, and it looks like that's going to be 4 down with the buyback coming in, and I'm sure plenty to follow. But it looks like they only have 1 available. Keeper the Light, next target, Ramses. Diffusal Blades up. Afterlife wants to use the call. Pulls back Ramses to his mana loss. But VP well in control of the base now. There's a buyback available on the Dusa, but how can they possibly fight this one out without the Phantom Assassin and without the Omni Knight? We'll see. The melee Rax is going to be dying here. Ramses is at half health. If they can get the right kind of initiation, maybe they can stall him up, but nope. Mid lane of Rax is gone, and Friends will have to go for the full reverse all kill. Losing 2 lanes of Rax and left with only 1 to make it creeps. They're going to have to defend and defend and defend. Push this as late as they can to try and make a comeback.
This Dragon Knight is just such a beast right now. He's got Heart, Armlet, Silver Edge, just goes in, deals so much damage, and is so tanky as well. Vlad's to amp it up. Now Moonshard to enhance his attack speed. He's pretty much the carry. Like Ursa, he's a diversion. He can tank a lot. He can focus on one target, but it's actually DK that's putting up the most damage in every fight, and no one is in just such a great position. This is where like this hero really shines. Early tempo push, good control, and now finding a huge surplus of items in this mid game. Now he's almost 20k net worth, and there's absolutely nothing that they have to deal with him. If he gets petrified, he takes it like a man. He's got so much armor that it doesn't seem to matter, and yeah, we see so much initiation DK that we haven't really seen this semi-carry DK until recently. And
oh, that's what I wanted to ask you, actually.
Sure.
Does the Aghanim Scepter for Enrage get you out of Stone Gaze? Because it's only silences that doesn't let you get out of it. Is Stone, when you're in Stone form, is that some form of Enrage ability? Because I believe you could do it during Chronosphere, so it makes sense you could Enrage off of Stone Gaze.
You could definitely use it. The question is whether or not it takes it off.
Yeah.
I think Strong Dispels will remove it, but it's one of those few that might not.
Oh, the jump in. Ursa right in the middle of 4 here. Pasha unable to get his initiation as he gets clipped there. Unable to get the blink out. The Stone Gaze completes out. No one turned into stone. He's looking for solo on the side. We'll be able to find him eventually. But can he actually finish him off? The disruption. And now he's taking so much damage from the Dragon Knight. He's down. Ursa cleaned up too many, and no one will take the rest. Good game, well played from Friends, as this time they will say GG. 21-4 is the end score for our game number 3, as VP will stay in the Summit Qualifiers.
Yeah, and this is like we got to see really the full potential of Omni Knight in terms of countering him as well as playing around him. It just seems like VP, in their Game 1 and Game 3 drafts, they had a really good idea of how they're going to circumvent things like Guardian Angel Repel, and in their second game, they just didn't have the tools for it. So obviously, we see 3 games Omni Knight, we see 2 losses, but VP showing a lot of chops, just going in with really good engagements, really good fighting. Their first like 10 kills in general were really well executed. But it kind of sucks to see friends go. I mean, we got to see these guys fight it out through all of phase one and make it through that single elimination bracket to this point here where they end up dropping to a series and end up staying home. But VP still in contention for the summit. We'll see how they fare up against their next opponent, which will be decided very shortly, guys. This is going to be Liquid versus Advenom coming up in about 20 some odd minutes, and it should be an incredible winners bracket final here for the Phase 2 Summit 6 European qualifier.
Yeah, Blaze is going to be taking over. I'm going to be abandoning Blaze. I'm sorry, Blaze.
Low party for you, man.
Yeah. I got to go cast some Dota Pit, which is going to be Vega versus Empire. So 2 very fantastic European games. Watch them both. We'll
Multi-Twitch.
yeah, that.